Hello, hello, and welcome to our chakra balancing yoga sequence today. I'm so excited to have you here and to work to align and balance our chakras through yoga. This is a really wonderful, accessible way to work with your energy body. And if you're not familiar, chakras are beautiful energy centers that live within our body that combine our spiritual and physical selves. They work on nadis, which are energy channels, so they're all connected. So we are going to focus on all 7 of the major chakras, starting with the root chakra and working our way up to the crown. So we're going to start on our mats. We're going to start standing today, and then we're going to work our way down to seated postures. And so this might sound a little backwards, but we're just really taking in the inspiration of the chakras. And so when we work with the root chakra, which of course we're going to start with, it's all about standing, grounding postures. So without further ado, grab your water, make sure you're set up with your yoga mat or just a space in your home to practice. And then of course, if you have blocks, if you have hardcover books, soup cans, couch cushions, whatever you can use as support or as props to assist you in anything that might feel a little out of reach, please by all means have those nearby. Also, please remember that with yoga, you always want to bring the practice to your body and not your body to the practice. And what I mean by that is if I'm cueing us through any postures that just don't feel right in your body today, by all means, you don't have to do them. You can just stand and breathe. You can sit and breathe. But I'll make sure to just cue some modifications if that's the case for anybody. And of course, just meet yourself where you're at today. If yesterday you had more energy than today and today you feel tired, that's okay. Or the other way around. So we're going to start standing at the top of our mats. We're going to start in Tadasana, which is also known as mountain pose. And I'll face you for a minute. So you want to make sure your feet are directly under your hips. This is going to be the best alignment for your body. And then our hands, palms just face forward. And all we're doing is we're standing here and we're embracing that mountain energy. So we're doing this at the top of our mats. And sometimes I just like to rock back and forth on my heels and my toes and just make sure I'm evenly dispersing my weight. We want to make sure that we're not sticking our butt out too far or our hips too far forward. So you just tuck the tailbone very gently if that feels okay in your body. And then when you're ready, I invite you to close down your eyes. If that doesn't feel safe, you can just bring them to a soft gaze in front of your nose. But we're just going to begin to focus on our breathing. Breathing in and out through the nose. Just getting ourselves grounded here. And if anything, thoughts, emotions, worries, doubts, anything crosses your mind throughout our practice, just bring your focus back to your breath. Your breath, your inhales, your exhales, they're your guide. It'll keep you anchored throughout this practice. Okay, beautiful. You can flicker your eyes open ever so slightly or slowly if they were closed. And then inhale, we're just going to bring our arms overhead. And exhale, bend those knees, and we're going to fold forward. Coming down, you don't have to touch the ground if that's not accessible today, but we're just coming into a forward fold here. And I want you to really bend your knees if you need to. We just want our head and neck to relax and hang heavy. Maybe you nod the head yes and shake the head no. Just releasing any tension. If you want to bring your feet a little bit wider so they're at the edges of your mat, you're more than welcome. Give yourself more space. We're just releasing into the low back. And then if it's accessible, if it feels okay, you can grab for opposite elbows, coming into a rag doll, and just letting your upper half of your body hang a little bit heavier. We're just going to breathe here for a few more breaths. Releasing any tension in the low back, as well as stretching our hamstrings, backs of our legs, all of which are really good for the root chakra. On your next inhale, heel toe your feet back to hip widths apart if they were at the edges of your mat. And then we're going to bring our hands to our mat. So if you need to bend your knees, please do. And we're just going to step the right foot back. We're coming into a high lunge. So make sure you feel really rooted and grounded in your feet. Push into your feet, your left foot, the ball of your right foot, and inhale those arms overhead. I'm going to take 3 breaths here. We're not staying for very long. We're really grounding into our legs. On your next exhale, bring the hands back to the mat. And we're going to step back to downward dog. So if you want to come through plank and then shift your hips up, come into a downward dog. Bend those knees. We don't want to push ourselves or overstretch anything. So bend your knees for support. We're taking 3 breaths here in the down dog. And then on your next inhale, looking forward, and we're going to step our right foot through. So you can either lift that right leg, step it through, or you can bring your ball of your foot to help you step your right foot through. We're coming into high lunge on the other side. So before we lift our arms, make sure we feel really grounded in our feet here. And then inhale, coming in to your high lunge on the other side. Really pushing into your right foot and the ball of your left foot. So you feel sturdy. It's okay if you're shaking a little bit. Maybe your body's just waking up from sitting down all day or not much movement. And then exhale, planting those hands back on your mat. Step that right foot back, coming into a plank pose. Take a breath. Drop your knees to the ground. And then bend those elbows, coming all the way down to our belly. We're going to come into Sphinx Pose. So bring your forearms to the mat. Elbows are under your shoulders. We're engaging our legs and our glutes to protect our low back here. And we're just breathing, coming into a tiny back bend. Beautiful. Exhale, come down. And then come up through tabletop. And then push your way back up to downward dog. Bend those knees. And then looking forward, walking your feet to your hands, coming into a forward fold once again. Keep those knees bent if you need. And then on your next inhale, slowly come up to standing. Vertebra by vertebra. Slowly all the way up. Head comes up last. Take a breath here in Tadasana. If you need to take a sip of water, please do. If at any point during the practice you need water, please grab water. Now we're going to come into a very classic pose for the root chakra, which is tree pose. So I'm going to face you for this one. So I like to first stand in Tadasana. I always close down my eyes. We're going to start with the right foot, but I want you to imagine little tiny roots growing out of your right foot, really planting you into the earth. So your right foot is connected to the earth, connected to the grounding energy. And if your eyes are closed, you can blink them open. We're going to put our hands on our hips here. And there's a few options for tree pose, so I want you to do what feels good. You can either start by just having your toes resting on the mat. And this is as far as you go. This is a balanced posture, so we want to just meet ourselves where we're at. Really make sure you're engaging that right leg if you want to lift and have your left foot resting on your calf, your right calf. The full expression, which is not necessary, is having our left foot rest on our right thigh. And wherever you are, if you have the balance today, you can bring your hands into prayer. It's okay if you're a little wobbly. I know I am today. You might feel see me shaking. And we're just going to breathe here for 3 breaths in our tree pose. Of course, if you have it in you, you can bring your arms overhead. This is the full expression of tree, growing our branches high to the sky. It's okay if you're swaying. Sometimes our trees sway in the wind. And wherever you are, one more inhale. And then exhale, plant that left foot. Maybe shake it out on the right side. Beautiful. We're going to just do it on the other side. So again, before we even lift our right leg, let's ground back down into Tadasana. Take a breath, sigh out the mouth on the exhale if that feels good. And then again, imagining tiny little roots growing out of your left foot, down into the earth, grounding you, rooting you, supporting you. And then again, of course, if your eyes are closed, blink them open. Again, same thing, bring your hands to your hips, please, to start. And you decide, maybe we're just right here today, right toes are still on the mat. I always like to go through all of them to see where my body is at today. Maybe your foot's on your calf. I just want to note, we never want to put our foot over our knee. That can cause injury. We don't want that. So you decide where you're going to go today. Do your best to do the same on this side. Whoops, see, sometimes our bodies are like, hello. Do your best to do the same on this side you did on the other side. And if you have the balance, you can bring your hands into prayer. And it helps to focus on one spot so your eyes aren't moving around to keep our balance. Maybe we grow our tree, arms high to the sky. One more breath. Beautiful. Release the right leg down. Maybe shake up left. Me too. Wonderful. So that was tree pose. Such a good pose to balance the root chakra. It really helps us connect back to the earth. And now, if you were facing me, you want to come back to the top of your mat, by all means. I want us to heel toe our feet together. Okay, best that they can. Sometimes it's not accessible for our bodies to get our feet all the way together. That's okay. And we're going to come into a chair pose. So inhale here. Exhale, arms overhead, and sink those hips back. With your chair pose, you want to make sure that you can see your toes, that your knees aren't too far over your toes. just so we know we have good alignment. And then we want to make sure we're not sticking our butt out too much, so maybe tucking that tailbone. And just breathing here. This is a tough one. Maybe your thighs are screaming at you, that's okay. And if you want to take it into a twist today, bring your hands to prayer. Bring your left elbow to your right knee and just gently twisting to the right. On your exhale, come back to center. Row all the way tall, hands to the sky. And then exhale, bend those elbows, bend those knees, just to reset. Hands come down by your side. Take a breath in Tadasana. And then we're going to inhale back to our chair. Exhale to get settled in your chair pose once again. And then we're going to twist to the other side. So hands come to prayer in front of heart center. Right elbow comes outside of left knee. And if this isn't accessible or available today, you can just stay in our regular chair pose. Wherever you are, focusing on your breath best you can. And then coming back up. Inhale to grow tall. Exhale, release those hands. Come back to Tadasana. Now before we keep going, let's take a sip of water. Stay hydrated. And then meeting once again in Tadasana. And let's have our hands on our hips. We're gonna come into a warrior two from Tadasana. Another really good pose for the root chakra. We're gonna step our right foot back. And what is happening here is our left toes are facing the short edge of our mat, right toes facing a long edge of our mat. And we're gonna bend into that front knee, that left knee. I wanna make sure we're not leaning too far forward or back, that our torso is over our hips. And then arms come out to a T, shoulder height. And we're just gonna gaze over our left hand. Breathing here in warrior two. Really grounding down into our feet and our legs. Beautiful. We're gonna windmill our arms down to the mat. We're gonna step it back to plank pose. Take a breath. Bring those knees to the mat. Exhale, bend those elbows. Come all the way down to your belly. Inhale, forearms come to the mat. Coming back into that Sphinx pose we did at the beginning of the class. Exhale, all the way down. Coming back through tabletop and then up to our downward dog. Take a breath in your downward dog. And then inhale, looking forward, stepping your hands to your feet to your hands, sorry. And then inhale, halfway lift, hands come to your shins, coming into a flat back. Exhale, fold forward, let it all go. And then inhale, slowly coming up to stand. Take a breath in Tadasana. Beautiful. Now we're going to do warrior 2 on the other side. So hands come to hips. Step that left foot back. So now your right toes are facing the short edge of your mat. Your left toe is facing the long edge. And then begin to bend into that front leg, the right knee. You might need to widen your stance depending how tall you are. I need to go a bit wider. And then on your next inhale, arms come to T in the shoulder height. Gazing over your right hand. On your next exhale, windmill your arms down to the mat so you can step it back to your downward dog. Or your plank, sorry, and then your downward dog. We always want to come through plank before we go up or down. Take a breath in your down dog. Baby sigh out the mouth. Let it all go. And then inhale, looking forward. Step your feet towards your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands come to shins, flat back. Exhale, hold. Inhale, slowly make your way to standing. Head comes up last. Take a breath into Tadasana. Beautiful. Okay, we're moving into the Sacral Plexus chakra now. So we're going to face the wide edge of our mat. We're going to come into a wide leg forward fold. So I want you to decide how wide your legs are. I like to go, I have pretty long legs, so I go about, my feet were hip distance apart, 1, 2, 3, 4 heel toes apart. You'll know if your legs are too wide when we start to fold forward. This would be a good time to use a block or a prop. If you don't have blocks, books, soup cans. Getting your hands to the mat is going to be hard or difficult. So grab your props if you need. Otherwise, bring your hands to your hips. Take an inhale, and on your exhale, bend those knees as you begin to fold forward. We want to protect our hamstrings. We're going to stop at our halfway, and then bring our hands to the mat. So again, if you need to have your hands on a block, book, whatever it is you need, that's totally okay. Otherwise, let your head and neck hang heavy here. Really begin to allow your body to just rest in this pose. Any type of wide leg forward fold, or if you're doing this seated, is great for the sacral plexus chakra. Taking 3 more breaths here in this pose. And then coming up and out of it, before we come all the way up, we're going to bring our left hand in front of our faces on the mat or on the ground. And inhale, reach the right arm up. We're coming into a twist. Beautiful. You can release. Right hand comes down to the mat or the ground or the block, whatever you have. And then inhale, left arm reaches high to the sky, twisting to the other side. Exhale, release that. And now you can decide if you want to heel toe your feet in closer together so it's easier to come back up. But ideally, if you have it in you today, let's bring our hands to our hips and then use the strength from our legs to bring ourselves all the way up. Good job. That sometimes can feel like a lot. If you feel lightheaded at all, please take a few deep breaths. There's no rush. And before we move on to the more seated postures, we're going to come into dancer's pose. So our toes, or not dancers, sorry, goddess. Our toes are pointing to the corners of our mat. Hands on hips. Inhale. Exhale, bend those knees, coming down into goddess pose. Great for the sacral chakra, embracing the goddesses that we are. And you can keep your hands on your hips, or maybe you want to challenge yourself and bring your hands to prayer. Just breathing here. We don't have to sink really deep if you don't want to, whatever feels best for your body. Sometimes I think when we go even further down here, we kind of just dump and we're not actually engaging our muscles. Now we're gonna come into some dancing goddesses. So inhale, straighten the legs, arms overhead. Exhale, bend those knees, hands come to prayer. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. 2 more. Beautiful. Coming up and out. Hands come to hips. Turn to face the front of your mat. Step back to Tadasana. Take a breath. And then inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward, swan dive forward, bend those knees. Hands come to the mat. And we're going to step it back into plank. Take a breath in plank pose. Exhale. You decide, knees bent or knees on the ground, or full chaturanga all the way to your belly. Inhale, coming into cobra or sphinx. You wanna, if this is too much of a back bend, please do sphinx. Exhale, coming all the way down. And pushing ourselves back to a child's pose. So knees are going to be as wide as our mat because we're still working into the sacral chakra, into our hips. So knees as wide as mat, your butt as close to your heels as possible. Arms stretched overhead, forehead comes to the mat. And if it feels difficult to get your forehead to the mat, you can always stack your fists and rest your forehead on your hands, on your fists here. You're going to get the same benefits doing either or, so just meet your body where it's at today. Staying in your child's pose exactly as you are. If you want to, you can thread your left arm underneath your right. Left ear will come to the mat. Just coming into a thread the needle child's pose hybrid here. And then inhaling, bringing that left hand back forward, and exhale, the right arm will thread underneath the left. Beautiful. Bring your right arm back in front of you and just take 2 more breaths in your child's pose. And on your next inhale, we're going to come up into a tabletop position. So now we're coming into the solar plexus. We're going to do some cat-cows. So inhale, belly will drop, gaze is forward, coming into cow. Exhale, spine will round, coming into cat. Tuck your chin to your chest. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Doing 5 more on your own, just following your own breath. You can go as slow or as fast as you need today. One more of each. Beautiful. Coming back to a neutral spine. And we're just going to make our way onto our butts. However you want to get there is good for you. We're still working into the solar plexus. So we're going to come into a boat pose. Boat pose can be a lot. So I'm going to give some modifications. So just come with your feet on the mat, knees bent. Make sure you're sitting up as tall as you can. And I like to start with just having my hands on the back of my legs. I guess it would be up the back of my thighs, yeah. And so I want you to just test this out. First, just try lifting one leg, right leg. See how that feels. See if you start to fall backwards, okay? Try that. Put your right foot down. Now lift the left. See how it feels. Bring it down. One more on each side. Just see how it feels. This would be half boat. So you just would go like this. This would be half boat. This is awesome. Whether you're keeping your hands on the back of your thighs or you're stretching them in front of you, either is good. If you want to try to come into a full boat, then you can start with your hands on your thighs as you lift your legs up. It's okay if you kind of come a little bit back. You just want to make sure we're not rounding our spines here. Maybe lifting those arms so they go in front of you. Really engaging our core. Breathing here. Exhale. Feet come back to the mat. Take a breath. Maybe give yourself a hug. We're gonna do that again. So now you know, you decide, half, both, or full, totally up to you. Anything that engages our core is really great for our solar plexus. So that's why we're doing this one today off ground, giving ourselves a little bit more of an easier time. So when you're ready, keeping your hands here to start. Inhale to come up. Exhale, hands come in front of you. Two more breaths. Beautiful. Feet come back to the mat. Give yourself a hug. Okay, take a sip of water before we keep going. Okay, we're coming into our heart chakra now. So I'm going to face you for this. We're just going to do some very gentle spinal twists seated with our heart chakra. Any poses that we're keeping our chest open is what we're looking for. I didn't want to take us too far today, mainly because I'm still recovering from surgery, so it's pretty difficult for me, as well as we don't have to go into these huge chest openers to get the benefits. So just gently, we're just going to twist to our right first. So your left hand will come on the outside of your right thigh, right arm behind you as a second spine for support. We just want to make sure we're still sitting up tall here as we twist. Beautiful. On your exhale, come back forward, maybe counter twist to the other side, just even it out before we go to the other side. And then gently, we're going to twist towards the left now. Left arm will come behind, right hand resting on the outside of the left knee, and just twisting the other way. Beautiful. Exhale, unwind, maybe counter twist if that feels good. Okay, we're going to stay seated. We're going to keep going with heart chakra poses. Okay, so next we're coming into eagle arms. So I'm going to give a couple options here if you want to bring some lower body into it as well. So bringing your feet in front of you, these are bent. I'm going to thread the right leg underneath the left, and the left will come to be over top. So you're coming into this like, almost looks like you're probably a pretzel. If this is too much on the hips, this just doesn't feel good, you can always straighten the bottom leg, so that would be your right leg, and have the left just resting over top. Or you can, just sit cross-legged, it's totally fine, whatever feels best for your body. And then our arms are going to be the opposite. So our left leg's on top, we want our right arm to be on top. So they're crossing over the elbows. And then either the back of your palms are going to rest on each other, the back of your hands are going to rest together. Or if you can get your hands into prayer, I have very long arms, so this is, accessible for me, but do what's best for your body. And we're going to inhale, and we're almost like we're bringing our elbows away from our chest. You're going to feel this in your arms and your shoulders, maybe a bit in your upper back. Just breathing here. If anything feels like too much, remember to just come back a little bit. That's just your body saying, don't go so far. But otherwise, we're imagining that our elbows are just slowly getting higher and higher as we are breathing into this posture. Beautiful. We're going to release the arms first. Bring your elbows back to be in front of your chest and release your arms. Shake out your arms. And then release the legs, bringing your arms behind you. So you can bring your legs back out and maybe just windshield wiper the knees from side to side. That might have been a lot for the hips. Once you've done 2 on each side of those, come back, and now we're going to bring the left leg underneath the right. And again, you decide, maybe that left leg is straight. If having both of your legs crossed is a little bit too much on your hips. And then this time, our left arm is on top. So crossing at the elbows, bending, either the backs of your hands are resting together or your palms. I have something sparkly on me. Anyway, it doesn't want to leave. Keep the sparkle on my hand, I guess. Okay, so breathing here. We start with our elbows at chest height. That might be enough. But maybe you want to take it a bit further and just every so slightly, like really, really small movements, micro movements. Your elbows maybe get a little higher every 1 or 2 exhales. Next exhale, bring your elbows back to chest height. Release those arms, shake them out. Hands come behind you so you can release the legs. And then same thing, just windshield wiper your knees from side to side. Three on each side. Apparently that's what I did. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so if you're facing me or you're not facing one of the short edges of your mat, then let's go back so we can come back and lie on our backs. So slowly making your way to your back. If you want to take one more sip of water before we go down, you're more than welcome. Just checking my notes. Beautiful. So we're coming into the throat chakra next. And with the throat chakra, the poses that we do are almost, I wouldn't say they're constricting our throat, but they're kind of just changing up what's going on there. So we're going to start with a bridge pose, which you might be familiar with. So coming down to lie on the mat. Feet are on the mat, knees are bent. You want to bring your feet as close in to your butt as possible. You'll know that it's a good, you're in good alignment for your body when your fingers can kind of tickle the backs of your heels, or at least that's what I like to always check in with. So arms are on the mat as well, palms facing down. You're looking straight up towards the sky. And on your next inhale, very slowly begin to lift your hips high to the sky. We're really engaging our glutes and our inner thighs, our legs here. And make sure you're not looking from side to side too much. You really just want to keep your gaze ahead of you, which would be looking to the sky. Taking 3 more breaths here in your bridge. Beautiful. Exhale, coming down vertebra by vertebra, really slow. Your hips and your butt will come down last. Beautiful. Now we're going to switch it up and we're going to do a figure 4 bridge on each side. So I want you first, you're going to cross your left leg over top of the right, making sure that your ankle is still hanging off, so your ankle isn't directly on your right thigh. Your foot has space to move. Make sure your left foot is flexed. And then on the inhale, we're coming into a bridge just like this. It's okay if you can't go as high. Inhale, lift your hips to the sky. This might feel weird if you've never done it before. Just continuing to breathe, engaging the legs, engaging your glutes. On your exhale, slowly coming back down, butt comes down last. And then you're going to let your legs and your foot fall towards the right side. We're coming into a twist. Your left arm is going to be shoulder height. I like to bring my right hand to my belly, closing down the eyes. And just focusing on your breath in this twist. Beautiful. Inhale, your head's going to come back to center, and then our legs will come back up. You can release the left foot down to the mat. We're going to come into the other side. So now your right leg is going to cross over top of the left. Again, make sure that your foot has room to move. Your ankle's not right over top of your leg. And then when you're ready, inhaling, lifting our hips high to the sky. Really engaging our legs and our glutes here. This side might feel different than the other side, that's okay. Exhale, coming down slowly. Butt comes down last. And then let the leg and the foot fall towards the left side. Right arm's going to come out shoulder height into a T. And then left hand resting on the belly as you look towards the right, coming into your twist on the other side. Inhale, head comes back to center. And lift those legs back up. Release the right foot down. And just give yourself a big hug. You don't have to lift your upper body off the mat. Just start rocking from side to side. Just massaging the low back here. Now once you've rocked side to side a few times, we're going to start rocking forwards and backwards until we can meet up in a seated position. So make sure you can get some momentum. And then meet up seated. You can challenge yourself and come into boat. And then bring your feet to the mat. Okay, so we're coming into our third eye chakra now. And I just want to note that with the third eye chakra, it's more about doing things with our eyes closed. So we're not doing anything crazy today. We're just gonna do a few simple postures, and I really want you to do your best to keep your eyes closed as we move through. So bringing your right foot, your right leg out wide, coming into a half forward fold. We're gonna just close down our eyes. Take a few breaths. Actually, I'm going to switch it up here. I've decided something different. So keeping your eyes closed best you can, you're going to take your right hand and place it in front of your right leg. So we can inhale our left arm up overhead, and we're coming into a side head to knee pose. So you just want to make sure as we do this that our chest is staying as open as possible. And just breathe here. If you have the space, you can bring your right forearm down to the mat. But no, if you have just the hand on the mat, that's okay. If you need to use a block, a book, a prop, that's okay. Allow your head and neck to hang heavy towards the right. They don't have to do any work. And then staying as you are, except for your arm, now reach that left arm away from your body, flexing the left hand. Maybe feeling the stretch now through your neck, your left shoulder, down your arm. And then no matter where you are, use your right hand to help lift your head back up. So we don't get a head rush, as well as it helps since our eyes are closed. Now you might need to open your eyes, but I'm going to do my best to cue you so you don't have to. So now we're going to come into a twist here. And what's going to happen is, so your left foot is now going to come to the mat. So you might be facing the corner of your mat. The right leg is still extended long in front of you. And you're going to bring your left hand or your left arm behind you, hand on the mat, and you're going to hug your left knee with your right arm. We're coming into a twist now. And we're just gently, if our eyes were open, we'd be gazing over our left shoulder. But again, doing our best to keep our eyes closed. And then gently untwisting, keeping your eyes closed. Let the left knee and leg fall down to the mat. So your left foot is still resting on your inner right thigh. We're coming into a head to knee pose or Tadasana. And all we're going to do is we're going to inhale, grow really tall, And then exhale, walk your hands forward. And you don't have to come all the way down. You don't have to be able to reach your foot here for your right foot. We're just stretching into our low back and our right hamstrings. You can let your head and neck hang heavy. You don't have to do any work. And if you can grab a hold of your right foot, by all means. If you need to use blocks, by all means. Beautiful. Keeping your eyes closed, walking yourself back up. And we're going to switch sides. So hands come behind you for some help here. So you can extend the left leg, and then the right foot will come the inside of the left thigh. We're doing the exact same 3 postures on this side as we did on the other. So left hand will come in front of your left leg. Inhale, right arm lifts high to the sky. And reaching over, stretching the right side body now. And again, you decide, maybe you need a block to help you here. Maybe your left forearm can come to the mat. Wherever you are, just reaching. Right arm towards the left. Breathing. Letting your head and neck hang heavy. They don't have to do any work. Staying as is, except for now, reaching your right arm away from the body. And then using your left hand to cradle your head, help bring it back up. Letting go of your head. Keeping your eyes closed best you can. We're going to bring the sole of our right foot to the mat. We're going to turn now. We're facing our left leg. We're coming into a twist. Right arm comes behind us, hand to the mat. And then left arm hugs the right knee. Twisting the other way. And then letting that go, slowly unwinding from that twist. And let the right knee and leg drop down to the mat. Right foot is still resting on the inside of the left thigh here. Coming into head to knee pose on the other side. So inhale, spine will go tall. Exhale, walking your hands forward, maybe having a block available if you need it for some support. Otherwise, coming into this pose and letting your head and neck just hang heavy. You don't have to do any work. Keeping your eyes closed. Maybe reaching for that left foot if it's available. On your next inhale, slowly walking yourself back up. Keeping our eyes closed. Bringing both feet in front of us. So our legs are extended. Maybe removing the flesh from your sit bones. So your sit bones are directly on the mat. Just taking a breath here in Tadasana. Have your hands resting beside you on the mat. Maybe resting on your thighs. Feet are flexed, legs are active. And we're just going to come into a forward fold with our eyes closed. So again, inhale to grow tall. Exhale, walk your hands as far as they can go. Maybe they're really just right beside your thighs. Maybe this is as far as you can go. That's okay. The best part is our eyes are closed, so we're really letting our body guide us and not focusing on how we look. Wherever you are, let your head and neck hang heavy. And just let yourself sink deeper into this forward fold with each exhale. Remember, you can always have your knees a little bit bent here to protect your hamstrings if it's a lot for you. And on your next inhale, slowly coming back up, walking yourself back to a seated position. Now I'm going to challenge all of us to keep our eyes closed for the rest of the practice. We're coming into the Crown Chakra. And usually with the Crown Chakra, we would do inversions like headstands, forearm stand, handstand, but those are all very, very advanced postures. So I've decided instead we're going to chant and we're going to breathe in meditation, which is just as beneficial for the Crown Chakra. So coming into a comfortable seated position, whatever works for you, I'm just going to sit cross-legged. If you want to sit on a pillow for this, please, that's okay. You can open your eyes, you can grab a pillow. Otherwise, we're going to chant together. We're going to chant for each chakra, and I will guide us through 3 chants for each. So you can always listen on the first chant and then join in on the last 2. So we're starting with the root chakra, and the chant for the root chakra is La. So we inhale and then we exhale on the chant. Just taking 2 breaths on your own. Okay, here we go. Inhale. La. Beautiful. Just take a couple breaths in between each. We're moving up into the Sacral Plexus chakra, and the chant is Bam. Inhale. Bam. Beautiful. Take a breath or two, moving up into the solar plexus. The chant for the solar plexus is Ram. Inhale. Ram. Beautiful. Moving up into the heart chakra. The heart chakra chant is Yam. Inhale. Yam. Yam. Beautiful. Take a couple breaths. Moving up into the throat chakra. The chant for the throat chakra is Hum. Inhale. Hum. Moving up to the third eye chakra, the chant for the third eye chakra is Sham. Inhale. Sham. 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 Awesome. Now coming up into the crown, chant for the crown chakra is Om, our beloved Om. Inhale. Om. Beautiful. Now bring your hands over your heart and just breathe deeply the best you can. Just notice how you feel. Notice how it feels after chanting. Feel those vibrations all around you. Chanting is healing for our vagus nerve. Our vagus nerve can be very much out of whack or in a state of sympathetic or dorsal when we're going through such big life changes as all of you are. So know that these chants can really assist you. And with stomach cancer, we would chant for the solar plexus. We would chant wrong. So feel free to do that chant as often as you need, or any of the others. As you breathe into your heart space, bring a soft smile to your face. Thank yourself for showing up today to do this chakra balancing yoga practice. Showing up for yourself, for your health, your well-being, your mind, your body, your soul. Bringing your hands to prayer in front of your heart center. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste. Slowly flicker your eyes open. There's no rush to come back. Thank you so much for being here with me and practicing today.